Glovers, you say Earth turns underneath. Oh, what? No, we don't verbally say that because that might get us in trouble when you point out it doesn't. So that's quite sloppy to say that. We much prefer you just say 15 degrees drift. And leave out the bit that's Earth turning underneath to cause it. Yeah, you'd much prefer we didn't say that.
That was classic.
I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate.
No, they want us to fully define on a daily basis exactly of how their model is supposed to be so they can lay the blame on us, right? For basically telling it how it isn't. So they don't have to take that claim in their own spirit and they can just assert whatever nonsense they like. They believe in a globe. They don't know what it means. We do. So we then take the blame for the actual nonsense that they believe. They just don't want to realize it.
Yeah, the most recent person to step into this fray and in entire defense of SciManDan is Craig, Fight the Flat Earth. So Flatsword recently released a video with him basically backing Dan and saying, don't you understand that the guy isn't drifting? And showing the exact same video. So don't you understand, Fight the Flat Earth, that Foucault Pendulum is claiming Earth turns underneath at 15 degrees an hour as a separate reference frame? Don't you understand how it's claimed we have drift as Earth turns underneath? Are you also as stupid as SciManDan to assert single reference frame, Earth not turning underneath, Craig?
I think it was something like you and your reference frames have been ruined.
So no drift then. You're more than happy to put your stamp next to SciManDan's stamp of idiocy, showing a man not drifting. Well, you're supposed to have 15 degrees an hour of it, my friend. Second reference frame. And to Craig, from Dan, you and your reference frames have been ruined. You need Earth to turn underneath stuff at 15 degrees an hour, and it does not. Maybe tell us all about how it doesn't, and we'll point out you need it to have 15 degrees drift. But like your man being towed by a tractor, he's not drifting. Yeah, he's supposed to show us things drift at 15 degrees an hour, though, not examples of things not drifting, as a justification for why we don't see Coriolis effect on an Earth that's spinning. It's not spinning. And with your examples that don't show drift, there'd be no difference between an Earth that's stationary and an Earth that's turning. Neither give you drift. And you're the ones that need 15 degrees of it, not us. But you don't understand what a pendulum does.
Oh, I do. I know all the equations for pendulum, but you don't know any of them.
Does it swing back and forth, or does it swing round and round?
It's where the big
Stutter for me! That'll be the taste of Nathan's nuts.
Dude, they think they're having their cake and eating it too. They have Coriolis effect without it having any effect, but they still point out how it does have an effect, even though it doesn't have an effect when you inquire.
Yeah, and when you ask what that effect is, i.e. is Earth turning under the pendulum, they can't answer. As soon as you say yes, so you say, all right, so Earth's a second reference frame then. So Dan pointing out that you and your reference frames are ruined and showing us examples without drift is in complete contradiction to the Foucault claim that we've got Earth turning underneath at 15 degrees an hour second reference frame. Yeah, that's a big problem, fundies. You need to get your story straight. The claim that's supposed to prove we spin is Earth turning underneath and a 15 degrees an hour drift, stuff moving apart, drifting away, not drifting together. Not our reference frames ruined, you idiots. That's why you've got Rumpus all in a tiz, having to make himself look stupid by not knowing how a pendulum works.
It's where the
Yeah, Dan might need to get himself a new greasy lawyer.
I don't think
one
Rumpus
sec, just one
saying,
sec.
you're muting me, when he's obviously audible. You think that's a bad lawyer?
Yeah, bad tactics. 10th year demonstration. Foucault pendulum, no forces perpendicular to the oscillation plane. So the plane remains fixed in space while the Earth rotates beneath it. So they're claiming Earth rotates beneath stuff at 15 degrees an hour then? I wonder why Rumpus was so hesitant to concede that very specific detail that's supposed to prove Earth spins. You'd think he'd be all for telling us that that's precisely what it does. Right? Back and forth motion, Earth turning underneath. Is that what it's supposed to do, Rumpus? Time to turn on the fundy mute button up to 11, right? Dan has screwed you guys over so badly. You need to go and attack Dan. You need to tell that moron that you need second reference frame Earth turning underneath pendulums. Because he doesn't seem to understand. And Craig is backing him like the complete fool he is.
It seems very strange that that a pendulum on a supposedly moving surface would have to be started to move. If the Earth was rotating, it would mean it would be moving, and all things that are hanging freely, whether it be a pendulum, a punching bag, a basket of flowers, they'd all be moving around the place. They could not be.
How about plums?
Just correct,
Yeah.
Brian. Yes, they'd start all by themselves if they were on a rotating platform. Imagine sticking a pendulum on a waltzer. Do you think it's just going to stay stationary? No, I assure you it would start moving of its own volition from your reference frame. Why? Well, because things are rotating beneath it. That's what Foucault's claiming. In that example, Earth turning underneath the pendulum to cause it to seem to drift from your vantage point. Oh, what's that? You don't want to concede that that's what you claim because that would mean flight times would be reduced when travelling west, and drones would drift away from you 1,000 miles an hour on the equator, and hot air balloons would be landing in different countries as Earth turned under them at 15 degrees an hour. Yeah, we don't see that effect. Best not concede that that's what Foucault's claiming, eh?
And the things would all be deviating, would be subjected to this Coriolis force or whatever you want to call it, because they're physical, they're solid or liquid, and those are susceptible to momentum, which is a side effect of a spin scenario. There's one other type of material that is not, however, and that's gas. Gas is not susceptible to momentum, so it will definitely go drifting because it will never move in lockstep with the rest because it's not susceptible to momentum. But that's kind of so remote at this point, you know. I'm trying to teach them about the consequence of their model and they don't even know.
Right, 10th, did you send me this paragraph about Foucault pendulum?
Yes.
Please, can you read it?
What was your question?
Please, can you read
Yeah,
it?
the last one.
Yeah,
hold on.
with a picture of a rotating platform to be analogous to the claim Earth is a rotating, non-inertial, spinning reference frame. Yeah, do you want to read the paragraph? It's brilliant. Excellent. Thank you, Tony.
Yeah, that's one with the chair, correct?
Yeah, is that what it's supposed to be, a spinning chair? It's like a lazy
Yes,
Susan, whatever
stool.
it may be, chair or
Yeah,
otherwise.
exactly. All right, here we go. The Foucault pendulum swings back and forth in the same plane while a stool is turned beneath it. Likewise, a Foucault pendulum on the Earth's surface swings back and forth in the same plane while the Earth turns beneath it. The amount of turning observed depends on the latitude of the pendulum.
Ergo, Earth would be a second, non-inertial spinning reference frame turning beneath things not attached. This would exhibit itself as a 15 degrees an hour drift. That would be things that aren't attached to the claim to be spinning Earth drifting away from you at 1,000 miles an hour on the equator. So you launch your drone, and oh no, it's drifting away at 1,000 miles an hour because I'm turning underneath it according to Foucault. Yeah, that doesn't happen. But that's what Foucault's claiming happens, and they seem very hesitant to actually admit that that's what he's claiming when we put it to them, because that would mean Earth's turning underneath stuff not attached, and that would give us drift that we don't see. So they better quickly tell us how, no, actually pendulums have got a figure of 8 motion. No, that would mean that they're not proving anything. If they're just naturally spinning a figure of 8, which they don't, they swing back and forth. It's just claimed by Foucault that Earth turns underneath at 15 degrees an hour. Oh, what's that I hear cry in the distance? Is it the sound of SciManDan? You and your reference frames are ruined. Oh, I don't have any, Dan, but for cults claiming 2 of them, and Earth turning underneath at 15 degrees an hour, roll on your demonstration of a man not drifting. Because that's not what he's claiming with this pendulum. He's claiming Earth turns underneath, and that would shorten flight times. That would mean drones drifted away at 1,000 miles an hour as Earth turns underneath. Precisely as Foucault's claiming, and we do not see. Big problem, lads. Better sort it out. Better get your story straight. You want to ask Discord your question again? See if there's any more brave souls.
Yeah. To any Globers in Discord, if there are any, I'm not looking in there. Can any of you guys tell us if the Earth is spinning underneath the pendulum? Or not?
This should be a really easy answer, given that we've just put it up on screen based on your zealot globe rhetoric. It is absolutely claimed. It's just been read out. It's been put on screen. It's easy to cite. Why is nobody from the globe side saying yes? I'll tell you why. Because Earth doesn't rotate underneath anything.
Can I say something?
Yeah?
If we were on a ball channel, let's just say, and they said, are there any Globers that can explain how you can have gas pressure out of a container, I think we would answer. So what's the problem here?
Yeah, we've read out a citation for their claim and nobody's willing to put their name next to it. Yeah, we know why. Because Earth isn't turning underneath at 15 degrees now. Nothing's drifting away from us. Even though that's what Foucault is exactly claiming. But none of you are prepared to say, yeah, that we agree with Foucault. In fact, Rumpus will come along and deny the very tenets of his claim.
Earth has to be turning in their world, in their life. Earth has to be turning. So we have to be not understanding something. The flat earthers have to be wrong.
It has to
About
be
something.
turning to the extent that they can't tell us that now. That's cute.
Yeah.
It's pretty sad, man. That nobody got Rumpus back? Come on, guys. You're going to leave your man Rumpus hanging like that? Come on.
Oh, you're asking the antithesis. So anybody on the globe side want to back Rumpus in his assertion that we just don't understand and that it's a sloppy explanation as per this gift to say that Earth is rotating under pendulums to cause them to appear to drift at 15 degrees an hour as Earth is turning underneath as a second reference frame Dan says is ruined? Nobody going to get behind this nonsense? Yeah, in case you hadn't noticed...
Too sloppy.
Yeah, sloppy to say Earth's turning underneath at 15 degrees an hour. All of you commenters saying Earth turns underneath at 15 degrees an hour. Oh, of course you don't say the Earth turning underneath bit, do you? You just say 15 degrees an hour drift. You don't actually highlight the bit that we don't see because we don't see it. And when it comes to us saying, well, Foucault says Earth turns underneath pendulums, you'll tell us that no, pendulums have a naturally elliptical motion. Yeah, making yourselves look stupid because you know Earth isn't turning underneath anything. It would be really obvious, wouldn't it? Things would drift away from you at 15 degrees an hour. And when we point that out, we need someone like Rumpus to clear up the mess of Dan and Craig, who are telling their audience, look, no drift. Reference frames ruined. What, the 2 reference frames on this gift that we've got? Showing how Foucault claims you've got 2 of them? Explain to us, Dan, whose reference frames are ruined? Given that this is a globe Earth example with 2 of them on screen for my audience. Maybe you can explain that, or maybe ask about diffraction, so I can segue into how the calculator you use doesn't include it. I don't mind which way you fundies die.
That now we are being told we are sloppy for saying the Earth is rotating underneath objects.
Yeah, but it doesn't look sloppy. That gift looks perfectly clean.
No, what they're saying is their whole model, their narrative is sloppy. That's
No,
what's
no
sloppy.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Sloppy, we're not saying it, you say it. Glovers, you say Earth turns underneath. Oh, what? No, we don't verbally say that because that might get us in trouble when you point out it doesn't. So that's quite sloppy to say that. We much prefer you just say 15 degrees drift. And leave out the bit that that's Earth turning underneath to cause it. Yeah, you'd much prefer we didn't say that.
That was classic.
Yeah, your
Yeah.
sloppy
It's
explanation
like
is
a
only.
boxing match, and they're training in the corner before the round starts. Like, where do you make sure you don't hit him? Now, make sure you don't hit him there. You don't hear him there. Well, we just like go straight for the punch places.
This is
It's
humiliating.
really weird, yeah.
Got a whole panel full of ballers. Is this really the case that we're talking about Foucault pendulum, a claim you guys make, and not one of you's prepared to put your mark next to it? How embarrassing. What a substantial loss. None of you prepared to say, yeah, Foucault's right. Earth turns under the pendulum at 15 degrees an hour to cause drift we don't see in drones or balloons. No one prepared to put their name next to this? What a shock. You're getting pummeled, Globers.
They can go to some other show and say how it is, the Earth is rotating underneath the pendulum, but they come here and they won't even say it out loud.
Damn straight.
Yep,
All right.
pretty pathetic.
You say what?
Does Earth turn under the Foucault pendulum, as claimed on screen for my audience now, described by Foucault?
Yeah, pretty much.
Why doesn't it turn under a hot air balloon then?
Nah.
That's not an
Why
answer.
would it?
Bro, really?
Well,
Why
that's
doesn't it-
on Earth.
Sorry.
Just that?
There's a problem, Virus. If it turns underneath the pendulum, it's a second non-inertial spinning reference frame turning underneath stuff not attached. That includes a balloon. Why isn't it turning under a balloon then, if Foucault's right?
Because everything moves together.
Well, then the pendulum wouldn't drift. So Foucault's wrong
Yes, you
then.
would.
Do you not understand at this stage
Why,
the contradiction?
why is that?
Because Earth is claimed to be a second reference frame turning underneath the pendulum to cause it to drift. And we're saying, if Earth's turning underneath the pendulum to cause it to drift, why isn't Earth turning under a hot air balloon to cause it to drift at 15 degrees an hour, as claimed by the pendulum, and you agree? So why isn't the balloon drifting away at 15 degrees an hour, Virus?
Because it shouldn't. There's no reason for it to.
Well, then the pendulum has no reason to do it then, does it?
Why are you comparing a pendulum and a hot air balloon?
I'm not. It's your claim by your side that's supposed to prove Earth spins.
No, it's not.
On screen for the audience right now is Foucault's description of how this directly relates to a claim that's supposed to prove Earth spinning. Something you conceded initially as true.
Okay.
No, it's not okay. It's a complete contradiction that annihilates the claim we spin. It's supposed to be demonstrated in gyroscopes, footballs, pendulums, bullets, but when it comes to anything that's in the air for any significant period like a balloon, you say it shouldn't happen. Well, that's a complete contradiction, isn't it?
No.
So Earth turns under the pendulum and Earth doesn't turn under a balloon.
If that's not what Coriolis is about.
That's exactly what Coriolis is. An observation of things drifting because you're claimed to turn underneath them on a globe Earth, or if you're on a roundabout because you're spinning underneath things not attached to the roundabout. That's what Coriolis is. We've covered this with you. You're not that stupid. So, no, it's claimed Earth has this deflection of 15 degrees an hour as demonstrated by Foucault, something you conceded to. Now we're pointing out the glaring contradiction that nothing else is drifting away at 15 degrees an hour. And you say it shouldn't? Well, why did you concede that Foucault does exactly that then?
Who else besides Flat Earth claimed that it should happen over something that's hovering?
Neil deGrasse Tyson says that Earth turns underneath a football so that from the stands you observe it seemed to curve through the goal as Earth turned under the football. That would mean that a flight from Charlotte, North Carolina to Los Angeles would take an hour and a half as Earth turned underneath the plane that was travelling over the stands as Earth turned under the football. But of course that doesn't happen. There's a glaring contradiction. Your priests like Tyson claim Earth turns underneath balls, and Foucault claims Earth turns under pendulums, but yet it doesn't turn underneath balloons or aeroplanes or drones or balls that we throw. So there's a massive contradiction, Virus.
So just because you want to compare hot air balloons and gyroscopes, we're wrong.
Sorry, no,
Moron,
it's not our claim.
us. It's your narrative.
Your claim, your proofsy from this pendulum, your proofsy from the football, your proofsy from the snipers, your proofsy from the gyro. Hello? No, your claim. And your claim isn't exhibiting itself in a hot air balloon, my friend, or a drone, or an aeroplane, or anything else that's in the air. But yet you seem to agree that Foucault is showing Earth turning underneath at 15 degrees an hour. And the commenters seem to think Bob's proven Earth turns underneath at 15 degrees an hour. And Neil deGrasse Tyson is saying that Earth turns underneath a football at 15 degrees an hour, and yet it doesn't turn underneath a plane. Or anything else not attached. Contradiction? No, you say? Yes, Virus. A massive one. A big problem if you think Earth spins.
I want to know why
I
he
don't
thinks
think
it
so.
shouldn't
Doesn't
turn
you
under a
think
hot
it's
air
a
balloon
contradiction on me and
if
do
it
that?
turns under all those other things. Why is
'Cause
the
it
hot air
doesn't.
balloon different?
Yeah, what he's saying, Neil, is you go up in a hot air balloon to watch the football game, and as you're watching the ball travel through the air, the ball will drift through the goal, but you can more than happily stay in a hot air balloon to watch that occurrence with the effect not happening to you. So the guy in the stands watching the ball seemed to take a curved path, but the balloon isn't. Right, Virus?
Yeah, why should the balloon?
Because it's claimed that's what's happening to the ball. It's claimed by Tyson Earth turned underneath the ball. But you're saying the blimp watching the game hasn't got the Earth turning underneath it, but the football has.
Right, because Coriolis is a little more than that.
Virus,
got
you don't
particular
realize how
people.
ridiculous that is, man. You don't realize how ridiculous your claim is right here.
Yeah, and you claim to be
Ridiculous
smart, a
is a matter of
mathematician.
opinion.
No, it's just
What?
a matter of us not having Earth turning underneath stuff at 15 degrees an hour. Nothing's drifting. Even though pendulums are supposed to say that it does, and Neil deGrasse Tyson says footballs do it, it doesn't happen. Anything for a substantial period of time in the air, like the blimp watching the game, hasn't got Earth turning underneath it at 15 degrees an hour. If it was, you'd throw a ball in the air, and it would drift away from you at 15 degrees an hour.